as one begins to think about retirement, there's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of decisions to be made, a lot of implications to consider, a little factors to think about. But on the financial side of things, there's generally about 5 major questions that I get asked. Today, I want to share with you a structure to ensure that you're hitting all the major elements that will address these 5 big questions. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the True Wealth Show. If we haven't met before, I'm Planner Mike, a certified financial planner professional and owner of True Wealth Financial. I believe that retirement should be prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful. This show is dedicated to helping Christians retire with confidence and clarity so that they can be freer to serve God and live the life they truly want. Thanks for tuning in. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that unfortunately has a little bit of a squirrel brain. I try to do a lot of different things at a lot of different times, and when I'm doing one thing, I'm kind of thinking about another thing, and I'm planning another thing. And so I have a lot of lists and checklists and notes and reminders and all kinds of stuff. And the challenge with that is sometimes you overlook things. So today I want to introduce to you the True Wealth Total Retirement System. I want to talk about what it is, how it can help address those 5 major questions that most people want to know when it comes to retirement. I want to show you the overarching elements of it and then some of the underpinning details of it. And we'll close the episode with a micro action that you can take to get you one step closer to confidently retiring. And so to do this, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started walking through it. So the True Wealth Total Retirement System, what is it? Really, it's a comprehensive structure or framework or mental map to really help you address all the fundamental and really intertwined aspects that will enable you to have a prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful retirement. And like I said, this will help you answer the major questions that I get asked. So a lot of times when I'm meeting with people, either in a consultation or in a general conversation, or even later on as we work together, these are the 5 questions, the 5 major questions that I get asked a lot. And this will help answer some of those questions. The number one question is, can I retire? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough income? Are things good enough? Am I at the point where I can confidently walk away and retire? The second question is, how am I going to pay for it? Right? I have all these different sources of income. I have this nest egg. How do I take my nest egg and turn it into a paycheck that will last a lifetime? Are my investments correct? I know that I've done a great job of saving, investing, and growing money over time, but at retirement, things change. When you begin taking money out, things change. When you start coming down the mountain, things change. And so your investments have to change. And so the question is, are they suitable? We just went through some pretty rough markets the last couple of weeks or so. If you know you have a good strategy, things like that, they won't even phase you because you know you have a good plan in place. Can I pay less taxes? For a lot of people, taxes is one of the largest single elements of expenses they have throughout their retirement. And anything you can do to reduce those taxes is more money in your plan, more money in your investments, more money for you to give, more money to leave to your heirs. And lastly, if something happens to me, will my spouse or my family, will they be okay? And so these are the major questions that generally people ask me and they want to know the answers to. And so this system is going to help address those major elements. So let's get into it. So it really starts with a retirement plan. A retirement plan, we use Right Capital as our retirement planning software. It basically is the overarching element that goes into your plan, and everybody's is going to be a little bit different. And then there's these 4 major kind of pillars that support that and aid to the success or lack thereof of that retirement plan. What is it? It's retirement income, right? In retirement, when you walk away from work, you still need an income. You still have to pay your bills. Figure out how you're going to pay for retirement is very, very important, and it should be done in conjunction with that plan. Obviously, we've invested for a long time. We have retirement accounts. We have 401k accounts. We have IRAs. We have Roth accounts. We have all these things, right? How do they intertwine and support my plan? And again, am I suitably invested for retirement? What can we do to reduce taxes, right? So again, you want to pay every cent that you owe the IRS, but you don't want to overpay them. You don't want to tip them for good service. And you certainly want to be taking advantage of every legal means that you possibly can to reduce your taxes. Lastly, you want to simplify and protect your estate, whether it's from an insurance perspective, from an estate planning perspective, from a who gets what and when perspective, whatever it might be. So what I want to do here now is kind of unpack these. This is kind of the major system, if you will, but I want to underpin some of these details here and show you how it really starts to work together. So it starts with that retirement plan. A solid retirement plan will start with your values. What are the things that you value at this stage of life? What's your purposes? What are you trying to achieve? What are your major goals that you want to accomplish in this stage of life? We flesh that out with our needs, wants, and wishes. From a financial perspective, what do those look like? What do we need to live off of? What are some things we want to do? What are things, if we have enough money, that we really wish we could do? Some of those luxurious, extravagant things. We basically get that all out of your head and on paper in a consolidated manner where your spouses are in agreement with it. Then we explore all of your financial and capital resources that you have. So what incomes do you have? What assets do you have? What property do you have? And that all goes in there to see, can we make this really happen? Is it sustainable? Is it feasible? Right? Things like that. And then we look at the timing element. Can I retire at 50 or 55 or 62 or 67? Right? And what assumptions do we have? What are we assuming for inflation? What are we assuming from a longevity perspective? What do we think taxes are going to do? All kinds of assumptions go into that plan. And so we take all this information and we create a customized plan for you. That plan then is underpinned by all four of these other pillars here, starting with retirement income. Retirement at its core is the idea of income replacement. How do you know you can retire? Because you can walk away from your job and you have enough money to pay your bills and do the things you want to do for the rest of your life. At its core foundation element, that's what it is. Taking your nest egg and turning it into a paycheck that supports your lifestyle. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, it starts off with the idea we have a goals-based retirement income. So we have that plan set in place. We know how much money you need year 1, year 2, year 3, so on and so forth. We then took the 4 sources of income you have. Human capital, so rents, maybe some part-time work, some consulting, stuff like that. So we take your human, your social capital, so Social Security, pension, stuff like that. Financial capital, those are your retirement accounts, investment accounts, and then your personal use assets. And we construct those like a big puzzle. We put it together and create a retirement income for you to support your goals. Ideally, you'd walk away from that knowing where your money's going to come from for the first 5 years. Because if you can confidently step away from retirement knowing you have a paycheck for the next 5 years, that adds a tremendous amount of peace and confidence and stability. The thing to remember, though, about retirement income, because it's goals-based, is very dynamic. You have incomes turning on and turning off at different times. For example, maybe one spouse takes Social Security at age 65, the other one takes it at 68, right? Maybe you have some part-time work that's turning off, the other spouse is still working, and then they stop working. Maybe a pension that turns on at 65. Maybe you have a pension that turns on at age 60. Right? It's very dynamic. Sometimes you want to buy a car in a certain year. So you want to take a certain trip in certain years. So the dynamic nature of retirement income, it's not just, I want $50,000 every year and that's it. That's not how it works, unfortunately, right? From an income and expense perspective, it's very dynamic. It's not static. And so we have a retirement plan that then informs our retirement income of what we need, want, and wish in all those years. And then we can start to apply, okay, now based upon that, we know what we need from an investment perspective. That drives our investment strategies. So now we can create an income-centric, because again, retirement planning is all about creating income. At its fundamental level, that's what it is, replacing your income. So now we can take what you need from an income and create a personalized investment allocation to support your income needs. If you don't need any income, you can be very, very aggressive. If you need income in this first couple of years, we want to be more conservative in nature. All right, we use our 3 buckets to essentially help you protect some money, have some money for income, have some money for growth. Again, it comes down to those years. Year 1, we want to have it very, very safe and conservative from a protection perspective. So our investments align with that. Years 2 and 3, we want more income. We're not really investing for growth. So we want to change our investments to match our income needs to support the goals. And then our long-term money, we still need it to grow, outpace inflation. And so we change our investments as well inside of those to accommodate that 3-bucket structure. Then we take an overlay of what asset location. So in some cases, it might be good to have the money in a brokerage account. And other times, it might be good to have it in an IRA account. Other times, it might be good to leave some in your old 401k account or your TSP account. It all depends on what we're trying to do, because the investments, again, is designed to support the income, which is designed to support the plan. If you're finding this information helpful or valuable, please hit the like button. It'll let me know to do more shows like this. Plus, it's a great way to say thank you. Right? So now we have that in place. We can begin. Okay, now we understand your investments and your income needs. What can we do to reduce taxes? Taxes is the number one expense generally for most seniors that they're going to pay, right? Because most time you think about it, your house is paid for. And so now your large expense is going to be taxes in a lot of people. So what can we do? Well, we can take tax efficient distributions. When we need income, again, it's what it's all about, and we have your investments, we can take that money out of the account that is the most tax efficient for that year. But we're not really just looking at that single year. We're looking at your lifetime tax bill. So what can we do today to not just help this year, but really accommodate your long-term tax projection? We do that through software and through spreadsheets. Additionally, we can start to take specific age and income-based tax-reducing tactics and employ them, right? So, for example, when your income goes down and you're not making as much money, it's a good time for Roth conversions. When you hit 70 and a half, you can do a QCD, a qualified charitable deduction, right? Where you can contribute to charities straight from your retirement account. But you can't do that till you're 70 and a half, right? So we can start to apply very specific tax reducing tactics based upon the age and your income needs. And lastly, part of our practice here that we do annual preparation and filing for it. Every year you're going to file your taxes, get some more information, basically feeds back into the system. What can we do going forward to reduce more taxes? Right? So you're kind of seeing hopefully how this all plays together. Lastly, we want to make sure that our spouse is provided for. What if something happens to me, will my spouse be okay? And that's where we look to protect and simplify your estate. So what's that look like? Well, we protect through insurance. That's what insurance is. Insurance is assessing the major risks that you have in your life and then taking appropriate action to ensure that it's not catastrophic in nature. But you'd be surprised, you don't need as much insurance at this stage of life. There's still some things you need, but maybe not others, but maybe some things you haven't had in the past. Estate planning. So making sure you have the proper basic estate documents in place, as well maybe exploring trusts and the usage of those for various needs. Again, all supporting your retirement goals. Continuity for loved ones. So what happens if something happens to you? Will your spouse be okay? Will others that are dependent upon you be okay? Will they have what they have in place to ensure that they can take care of all your estate needs or long-term care needs, whatever they might be? And then all the way through the disposition of your estate, working through probate, working through your wills, working through life insurance policies, making sure that spouses and children and heirs and charities are getting it, the things that you want to do with your estate, right? So hopefully you can see how this comprehensive nature kind of checks all the major boxes. But not only that, really it's circular in nature, right? So it doesn't end. You start with an initial retirement plan that will inform your income needs, that will inform your investments, that will inform your tax reduction strategy, adding that to protecting your assets and your estate, which then kind of feeds back in. And over time, you're going around and through this because it's evolved. It's not like you do it one time when you're 60 and that's it, right? You've heard of the retirement transitions, right? The go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years, right? Retirement changes, life changes. Think about, are you the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Probably not. You have different goals, ambitions, purposes, things like that. The same will happen here. And every time you go through this, it gets clearer and clearer. So we start to try to get a defined plan. Get out of your head what it is you want that retirement life to be. Then we determine, is it feasible, right? Do we have feasibility of it? Is it feasible? Can we make it happen, right? Is it resilient? Can it withstand the shocks of retirement? And lastly, is it optimized, right? Optimized is retiring earlier, retiring bigger, doing more, right? Getting more bang for our buck because we've done such a good job of planning your income, managing your investments, growing the growth bucket, reducing taxes, maybe simplifying things through your estate perspective so it doesn't cost as much on the back end, meaning your heirs don't pay as much taxes, stuff like that, right? So we get more optimized. So this all begins to kind of become cyclical, all with the idea of helping you confidently retire. That's what it's all about, getting you to the point where you can confidently walk away from your job, retire with confidence and clarity, so therefore you'll be free to serve God and live the life that you truly want. If you're still with me and find this valuable or helpful, please consider subscribing. That way you'll get notified about any future episodes. Today, we talked about the True Wealth Total Retirement System. And it really started with that financial plan. All those underpinnings and all those details and all those elements, it should be done in consideration and conjunction with an overall comprehensive plan, right? One that really takes in your retirement aspirations and goals, retirement income needs and investments and taxes and insurance and estate, and really a whole bunch more. I understand that preparing for retirement can be overwhelming and confusing. If you're looking for some help or if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email to mike@truewealth.show. mike@truewealth.show. But for today, a good micro action for the week might be to identify what area in that framework that you think you need the most help on and begin exploring some of those details that we talked about. Remember, there's a lot to retirement planning, and you can't do it all at once. You have to kind of do one thing at a time. Hopefully this helps you on your path to a retirement that is prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful. Until next time, hope you have a great day. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this week's episode of the True Wealth Financial Show. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Additionally, you can find more information on our website at www.truewealth.show. One final note, though, as we wrap up to today's show. While I hope the information was helpful, valuable, and insightful, it's really for information and educational purposes only. Prior to making any decisions or taking any actions, I'd strongly encourage you to talk to your legal, tax, estate, or financial advisor who's familiar with the unique circumstances of your particular personal situation. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, hope you have a great day.